Welcome back to another video. We're going to finish the project. So I think the last video I put out was me making a bracelet, that it was ridiculously big as a bracelet and I didn't quite like it. So I have extended it and made it a necklace. I've added some beads, but the same beads that I'd cut are the bottom part of this and the same centerpiece. However, when I look at it, it seems to be that since I use these dropping longer turquoise pieces on every other piece, it kind of extends the bottom of the necklace down, and I think something needs to come off the bottom of this to balance that look. So this being Opal Odyssey, we're going to add an opal to the bottom of this necklace right here to hang off right there. The opal we have is one of the most stunning opals I ever cut. It is directional in that it's better that way than this way. But this isn't great lighting, but you can see that that is a rolling broad flash of every color. I'll show you later once we get this thing bezel set. But we're going to set it, hang it off of the necklace about here to kind of balance out the look and not only give this a little bit of weight so that it's not wanting to flip. And so that'll be, we're going to set this in a silver bezel. We're going to hang it off of here without having to solder to this. So I've got an idea for how to do that. And let's do that. Alright, we got our opal. I'm going to leave it the freeform shape that it is, something almost unheard of on this channel. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. It even has a little chip right there. If I try to get the chip out, I am down on the color bar. If that chip was on this side, I got almost a millimeter of color left on this side. But if I tried to get that chip out, I would have a fried egg on this whole side right here and I'd lose the color. I don't care about the little chip. It won't be seen after it's set. And that thing is just stunning. So we're going to, we want 1/8 inch bezel wire. No, I think we want 3/16 inch bezel wire. This one's going to be a little bit tricky with all those funny angles, but we'll do our best. All right, so all right, there's our mark. Cut it right on the mark. I think we have a little bit to spare because I didn't really work it clean around those angles. So we're going to actually try, now that it's cut. Yeah, we definitely have about 1 millimeter of overlap. So then what I do is I figure out, okay, which one of my cuts is the least clean, take a little bit more off of, and it's this side for sure. That's going to be perfect right there. Or I hope it's going to be perfect. We want our flat pliers to clean up those edges. Oh, got to turn the pickle on. Might be too late to get that warm, but we're going to clean up those edges. Tend to kind of bow a little bit, and it's actually a pretty nice clean edge there without doing any filing or anything. We might just call that good. Now we just got to solder that little joint right there. I will start by heating it up with the torch. I like to heat it up once. If there's any oils or anything on it, and there always is, it always makes it difficult. Doesn't want to solder very clean. Solder doesn't want to flow. If I heat it up enough to burn off those oils, and then I stick it in the pickle, the acid, then I have an easier time soldering. All right, we've done our best to line it up. We have fluxed it. We have pickled it. We have cleaned it. I'm going to try and avoid the solder till I'm pretty close temperature with my bezel, and then it will just flow right up the seam right there, theoretically. Looks like we went. Put that in the pickle again. All right, some design decisions. I would like this to have a little bit of weight. Like I said, it's going to counteract the kind of the inclination of that pendant to want to flip a little bit because of the way it's mounted. So I don't know how many or if any little accent pieces we want to put on here. I kind of don't like that one too small. Go a little bit bigger to match the other one. That one's kind of egg-shaped and funny looking. Let's see, do I have any other ones here? Got this one. That's even bigger. I don't really want to go up in size. And this one's kind of rough. So I don't want to use it. I think I like that okay. Just to give it a little bit of accent at the bottom of it and to give it a little bit more weight. Sorry, normally I don't bring you along for this part because it takes a lot of just fiddling and fiddling and fiddling, and sometimes you have it right where you want it and then something shifts, and as soon as you turn on the torch blows everything out of alignment, blows all your solder off the plate, etc. But I'm just kind of showing you the process here as I look at it and decide, is this the look I want? All right, and we'll get that ready for solder. Here we go. This part's always nerve-wracking because I just spent 15 minutes shuffling and placing solder and moving the bezel, moving the raindrops, and then you do this right here, and as the flux dries out, everything bubbles and shifts, and I'm going to try and direct the heat where the most mass is, and the bezel is super thin and will melt at a heartbeat, but the plate being almost twice as thick, the bezel will actually get its heat off the plate pretty easily. So I have the bezel sitting on one piece of solder right there. Okay, that's starting to flow. That's flowing in there. You see solder there. I'm not sure if I got all three of the balls soldered down. In fact, I kind of suspect that one didn't, but what we'll do is we'll pickle it, and if they fall off, then we'll go back and solder them back on. Yep, the whole thing popped up. There you go. So I'm going to pickle that, clean it up, go for round 2 to try and get that part to solder down. Be right back. All right, so we've cleaned that up. We've pickled it. Luckily, we had enough solder to hold those three together so that they'll kind of stay monolithic now, hopefully. And we just got to make sure we have them where we want them. I've ordered a little dropper bottle to try and get a little bit more flux where I want it when I want it, because the paintbrush thing doesn't work all that great. Okay, so there's that one. That one. It really ought to be more than enough solder. Attempt 2. I'm warming up the plate. Almost everything but where I want to solder, so that when I come to it, the rest of it's not a heat sink drawing my heat out. I really think that solder did not go to the base plate. There we go, there's some went. There's some went. Now I think we're soldered down. Yep. Just being stubborn, but I think it went. Sometimes I think that, and then I throw that in the pickle and the two pieces separate. We're at this point. Now we're just going to take our shears, clean off our excess silver plate. Everything I can cut off this way. I don't have to grind or file off. Now I'll just take the Dremel. You've seen that. Dremel with the wheel. And finish cleaning up those edges. And then we will solder the bail on the back. Oh, I barely kept that WA in the... Probably not going to keep it in the design. Oh well. Okay, we'll get it cleaned up. Dremel's too noisy, so I won't do it on video. Alright, attempt 2. I want all of that to get up to temperature right at the same time. There we go. I think that went good, unless we pulled all the solder out of the other joints, but sometimes you don't know. Okay, we're just about there. Stone is just pushed in place. I'm going to use my 2 bezel tools here to start walking that bezel in. I'm just going to start moving that edge in. I didn't cut this stone with much of a taper. I noticed there is a little bit on one side but less on the other, so it's not going to lock in. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. But so I got those sides close. Now I want to get these corners here. Kind of need to get these things first. The longer runs is where there's more room for that silver to move. Okay, looks like, I don't know if you noticed this, but full disclosure, I flipped this bezel. See how it's, I did asymmetrical on the stone. This jog right here, I flipped the bezel so it was backwards, and I had to take the pliers and do a little bit of tweaking, but I think it'll clean up to where you won't be able to tell once we're done. Ideally, we'll start moving that in. Can you see me? Not very well. It's always harder, right, where you put these raindrops. It always makes the bezel a little stiffer because the bottom portion of it is much stiffer. Okay, we're getting close. If I was sitting down, I could do this in my lap. It's a lot easier, but I'm trying to show you what I'm doing here. You get the idea. I'm just going to keep walking this bezel around, working it in, pinching that stone in, trying not to scratch the bezel too much so that I can get all the scratches out, and then I knock it on the ground at least once. You can see that bezel's getting close now. Now I'll just clean it up. I like to clean it up with my half-round pliers. They do as good as anything, with any bezel tool, of burnishing that edge and cleaning up a little bit of my rough work with the bezel tool. See, we got a little bit of, we want to smooth that out. We got a little bit of chatter there from that bezel tool pushing down on it. This will help smooth some of that out. I'll just keep working that around until I have it smooth and got that stone pinched in there, and then we will do a final polish and attach it to the necklace. There's no light in here directly on that opal. You can see how good of an opal it is. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, here's a peek of it before we put on the necklace. Look at how absolutely it's a kaleidoscope. It is a bit directional in places. There's color all across the face. Like you can see, we got color at the top right there. There's color there. There's color at the bottom down here. The middle hits best from the direct on. This thing's always shooting colors at you, but look, it's green on top of red, purple, from yellow to red right there, and green below it. Lots of purples right there. That'll put a little bit of flash. Now, like I said, there's that little chip right there. There was no, to take that chip out, I would have lost color clear that far in. I wasn't willing to, either way, there's consequences. I prefer the stone like this. I think once I clean that up, it won't be, get a little bit of the dirt that's out of there, and I may polish a little bit more over here on the felt wheel, but I preferred that since this is for me. That's why there's only a part of a WA on there. But so that is how I ended up. So this right here will hook onto the cable that's behind that thing. I'll pinch it off to where it could be removed, but it's not going to ever fall off. But look at that. Look at that. Okay, give me. Sorry, I can't get enough of when you get an opal that just pops. That's, the brightness is just crazy on it. It hits from wherever you want to put it. What do you think of that one? That's going to really offset that turquoise piece, I think. It is hard to find it's hard to find an angle of this that's just not stunning. I can tell you, I have not cut very many opals that would match this one for the color play, the brightness, the color scheme, the palette. Rolling broad flash with some big flagstones. I just washed it off, but what color do you not see there? Okay, let's put that on the necklace and see how it's gonna look. Little outside light. It's cloudy, so it's not gonna be direct sunlight, but